Good evening. On behalf of Nuclear Aware Africa, I want to warmly welcome you to this important World Environment Day event titled Nuclear Energy and Sustainable Development Goals, Aligning for a Better Future. My name is Abdulrazak Mustafa, and as you all know, it's a privilege to be moderating today's session. I serve as the lead capacity building and advocacy at Nuclear Aware Africa, and it's truly inspiring to see colleagues, professionals, and advocates gathered here today to explore how nuclear energy can contribute meaningfully to our shared sustainable goals. Today we have an exceptional lineup of speakers from across Africa and beyond. These are individuals who are not only experts in their fields, but who are deeply passionate about intersection of energy, innovation, and sustainable development. As we begin, I think I will briefly walk us through our agenda for today. And we'll hear from each and every speaker, and they will be sharing insight on nuclear energy's role in clean power, health, climate action, and sustainable industrialization. After this presentation, we will open up for an interactive session, interactive Q&A session, where we can all share our thoughts, ask questions directly to our panel. Also, we'll have a group photograph in the course of our presentations. Then we'll wrap up with reflection on how we can collectively move forward on this critical issue we brought today. So before we begin, I do like to encourage everyone to stay on mute unless speaking, and you can all feel free to post your question in the chat as we go along. I will be keeping an eye on those and bringing them into the discussion so that most of the questions can be answered. So before we begin fully, I would like to introduce our panelists. And our first speaker for today will be Professor Sohair Saad Kora. She's a professor of radiation molecular biology at National Center for Radiation Research and Technology in the Egyptian Atomic Energy Authority. And she's also the founder and president of the Egyptian Women in Nuclear and president of the WIN, that's Women in Nuclear Africa, since 2002. Next, we will have associate professor. This is the lineup of our speakers. We will have the next in line will be Associate Professor Faten Bojobani, which she's a researcher in radiochemistry and Associate Professor at the National Center for Nuclear Science and Technology in Tunisia. Her research focuses on water treatment using radiation technologies, as well as on monitoring radionuclides in environmental sample and foodstuff. Also, she has demonstrated expertise in managing both national and international projects and has supervised more than 20 doctoral and master students. Beyond her academic work, she is highly involved in social and community activities. She served as the president of the Tunisian Association of Women in Nuclear and vice president of the Association of Science and Application. Joining us also is Dr. Michael Dioha. Dr. Michael is a senior energy researcher at Clean Air Task Force and specializing in energy environment, economic modeling, African energy transition, energy policy, and climate justice. He was previously a postdoctoral researcher at Carnegie Institution for Science at Stanford University, where he studied electric vehicle in decarbonized electricity system. He has published widely in peer-reviewed journals and also served on the editorial board of Environmental Researchers Letters, and is also a fellow of both Energy for Growth Hub and the Solar Energy Society of Nigeria. From India, we welcome Deksha Prakash Singh. She is affiliated to organizations that include UNECE, YGE, BRICS YEA, and she's a policy expert and a researcher, and she has work interests which include energy transition, international partnership, and energy policy diplomacy. She's an energy expert in the above listed organization I just mentioned, and she's an author of BRICS Energy Outlook 2024. She's an expertise in renewable energy policy and international partnership between Global South and North. Also, it's my honor to introduce Gunjan Indaulia, which she's a seasoned nuclear energy engineer, with nearly a decade of experience spanning the nuclear industry and clean energy entrepreneurship. She has contributed to safety assessment across the nuclear fuel cycle, ranging from new fuel build projects to reactor operation and the commissioning phases. She's a committed advocate for safe, responsible, and inclusive energy transition. She has been at the forefront of integrating nuclear energy in the clean energy mix with public engagement and sustainability. Also with us today is Tekla Mutero. She's the part of the Women in the Mining Industry Entrepreneur and leader as founding president of the Emerging Mining, Energy and Science Association of Namibia. She's the chairperson of the Southern African Miners Consortium and the G100 country chair for Sustainable Mining ESG Namibia. She is part of the top 25 ESG chairperson for Natural Resources Forum and received numerous awards of excellence in mining sector by Lead India Foundation in 2021. And she has resilience and leadership. She has resilience and leadership management. And finally, we are delighted to have Dr. Mohammed Said Taufik, who is a graduate of School of Medicine and Surgery in Cairo University and has a master's in internal medicine. Dr. Mohammed holds a PhD in medical application of laser in field internal medicine from Cairo University, and currently a professor of internal medicine at Egyptian Atomic Energy since 2023. So before we begin, I would like to bring in our first speaker, who is Professor Suhair Kora, who will give us an addendum to the opening remarks. Please, Professor, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Abdelrazak Mustafa. It is a pleasure with me to be with nuclear with your society. And actually, I am very, I admire very much his activity since I have ever known about it. I also thank you, Heba El-Koumi. She's my student, and she has invited me to share in this webinar. I would speak about something important which we all suffer from, which is the climate change. As we all know that despite of the 54 African countries being responsible for less than 4% of global greenhouse gas emission, Africa, 103 million people, are extremely vulnerable as the continents continue to warm at a faster degree than the world. And what happened? We can find fire in the forest of Algeria and fires in the north of Morocco. This have caused animals to die and has caused the olive farms to fade. Also, we have the glaciers in the mountain of Kenya, the mountain of Kilimanjaro, and the mountain of Ruwenzori mountain. the glaciers on the top of this mountain have been decreased very much, and this caused a decrease in the water supply for the River Nile, River Kenya, and the Uganda, Zaire, Congo river feeding them. Also, in Aswan, there has been a disaster where there have been rainwater in an expectable manner. This has caused scorpions to come out from their holes, and they become in contact of women of human, and a lot of disaster from the scorpion bite took place. We can also remember the flood which affected Sudan, and 1 million people were affected, and the livestock has been driven by the River Nile. Also, in South Africa, there has been a great incidence of floods, and people have been moving around and leaving their houses, becoming homeless. And there is also the Chad liver. The Chad liver has lost about 20. Its size was 25,000 square. It now reached 2,500 square kilometers, and this is very disastrous because this feeds about the Chad, the Niger, and Nigeria. So in Africa, the consequence of floods and droughts are exacerbated. There is weak infrastructure and accordingly increased number of refugees and immigrants. Health systems in Africa are considered weak and are unable to cope with the double burden of communicable and chronic non-communicable disease. And there is increased rate of heat diseases and prevalence of hygiene diseases and poor economy. So, building nuclear power plant will provide electricity to make industrialization and help in agriculture. Actually, food security is become dependent on nuclear techniques in very aspects. There is food irrigation, there is nuclear technology for water resources, nuclear technology for the examination of food safety. There is also nuclear techniques for livestock and having to know zoonotic diseases at early stages. Also, there is in entomology where they make sterilization of the insects, and by this they decrease the effect on the plants, and there will be much more production of agriculture. And actually also nuclear technology is very important in plant mutation, and there is a lot of experiments in Kenya, in Egypt, in Tunisia and Namibia, where they have found mutants that can withstand the drastic weather in these countries and increase the outcome of this disaster in cases of droughts or floods. Nuclear technology will provide more work for people who have no job. Nuclear technology will open hospitals and open factories. Nuclear technology will decrease unemployment. Actually, nuclear technology is the key for sustainable development in Africa. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for setting the tone so powerful. Thank you very much. So let's now hear from Associate Professor Fatin. So the floor is all yours, ma'am.
Hello, Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Afternoon. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you see me?
No, we can't.
حل فيديو فاتن
I
حل
don't know.
كاميرا
Yes, I open. It's okay now. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I'm going to
Yes,
share with you my screen. Can you see my screen? Please, a moment.
connexion.
Please wait a moment. I don't know why I have a bad connection. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes,
can
we
hear
hear
you.
you.
Okay. Now I will share with you my slide. Can you see my slide, please?
Yes, we can see it.
Excuse
we
me.
can
Can
see.
you see my slide?
اي فاتن نشوفوا فيه.
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
You can see it?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very glad to be with you today, and I want to thank Nuclear Aware Africa for the invitation. Okay, my name is Faten Boujelben, and I am associate professor. I'm a researcher in the National Center for Nuclear Science and Technology. Today, we will explore how nuclear science is providing innovative solutions to some of our most pressing environmental challenges. This next slide, before we delve into the technical aspects, I want to briefly highlight the role of women in nuclear. Since its inception on March 30th, 2021, in Tunisia, the Association of Women in Nuclear has established itself as a pioneering organization dedicated to addressing gender inequality within Tunisian nuclear industry. Through our affiliation with the International WIN Network, we support global initiatives to advance women, particularly in nuclear science and technology. Our mission is broad, encompassing social change, educational enhancement, and career development with the nuclear field. This work is vital in inspiring the next generation of scientists and engineers who will contribute to this advanced solution. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most critical environmental challenges of our time, the water crisis. As this slide illustrates, it's
Dr.
a stark
Faten,
reality. Yes?
please
Yes.
change the slide. Please change the slide. The slide is keep on number 1. It doesn't change to 2 or 3.
Okay. Now you can see the slide? Is it okay?
No, it is still the same.
It's
If
the
you are
third one.
No, if you are making the slide show, so stop slide showing and move the slide as it
Okay.
is. Don't make play.
Okay. Is it okay now? Can you see?
It's okay now. Yeah, we can see it right now.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry for the disturbance.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
فاتن
Thank you.
حطوا بلان اكران زاد حطوا بلان اكران.
Okay, now let's turn our attention to one of the most critical environmental challenges of our time, the water crisis. As this slide illustrates, it's a stark reality. Drought now affects 40% of the world's population, and staggering 2.2 billion people lack access to safe drinking water. Agriculture alone consumes 70% of our fresh water, and demand is projected to increase by over 50% by 2050. The main causes are clear: climate change, with its rising temperatures and irregular precipitation, coupled with population growth, rapid urbanization, and persistent pollution degrading our water source. This is not just a future threat, it's happening now. The importance of water treatment. The treatment objectives are health safety, elimination of pathogens and contaminants, taste quality, improvement of taste and odor, regularity compliance, meeting quality standards, and environmental protection, reducing ecological impact. Given this crisis, the importance of water treatment cannot be overstated. Our objectives are multifaceted. Primary, physical processes, screening, sedimentation, filtration, chemical processes by coagulation, flocculation, disinfection, and biological processes, activated sludge, biofilms, anaerobic digestion. The conventional methods are very limited in effectiveness against emerging contaminants, high energy consumption, chemical residues and byproducts, and inability to treat certain persistent pollutants. Traditionally, water treatment has relied on a combination of physical, chemical, and biological process. Physical method includes, it's for the second, the next slide. This image of a conventional treatment plant highlights the swale. This symbol represents the very heart of the solution we are discussing today. It's about harnessing the power of nuclear science for positive environmental impact, fostering a nuclear-aware Africa that understands and utilizes this technology responsibility. Let's talk now about the pollution crisis. Persistent organic pollutants, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, industrial chemicals, plastic contamination, microplastics, and polymer waste, industrial effluent, complex chemical mixture resistant to conventional treatment, groundwater contamination, long-term environmental and health impact. Nuclear remediation technologies as advanced oxidation process using high energy radiation to break down molecular bonds of persistent organic pollutants through the generation of highly reactive hydroxyl radicals and other oxidant species. The challenge of environmental contamination in this pollution, it's a global crisis. We can found organic, inorganic, emerging contaminant like pharmaceutical microplastics, and traditional remediation has a lot of limitation. Then we need advanced solution. As I said, the advanced oxidation process is an effective alternative. And we can highlight the ionizing radiation as a promising eco-friendly approach. What is ionizing radiation for remediation? Energy released from atoms that traverse in the form of electromagnetic waves, gamma rays, X-rays, etc., or particles, alpha, beta, electron beams. Mechanism of action, it's the radiolysis of water. When ionizing radiation interacts with water, it breaks water molecules into highly reactive species. K-reactive species, hydroxyl radicals, hydrated electron, hydrogen atoms. These species then react with pollutant, degrading them into less harmful or inert substance. The advantage of ionizing radiation are several. The no selective degradation, no chemical additives required, high efficiency and rapid kinetics, and can treat large volume and effective for recalcitrant pollutants. For irradiation technology treatment, we have two techniques: electron beam irradiation technology. What is electron beam irradiation? This beam generated by electron accelerators, high energy electron travel at near light speed and can be precisely controlled, the energy level and the dose. How it works: direct interaction of electron with pollutants and indirect degradation via reactive species from water radiolysis. Key feature and the advantages: on-demand operation, then we can switch on and switch off, no radioactive isotope involved, high dose rate, rapid processing, and energy efficiency compared to some other technology. The application of the electron beam wastewater treatment, of course. We have the degradation of organic pollutants. Then we can reduce the COD, the BOD, and the TOC. We can eliminate the pathogen as bacteria and viruses. And we can enhance the biodegradability for subsequent biological treatment. And of course, could be combined by conventional treatments. It's very important thing. Gamma irradiation technology. What is gamma irradiation? Uses gamma rays emitted from radioactive isotopes, as for example, cobalt-60. Gamma rays are a form of electromagnetic radiation with high penetration power. The mechanism are primarily indirect degradation through the powerful reactive species generated from water radiolysis. The key feature and advantages: keep deep penetration, reliable and well-established technology, no temperature increase during treatment, and effective for a wide range of contaminants. How we can use gamma irradiation for wastewater and industrial effluent treatment, for sewage sludge treatment, for groundwater treatment, and for solid waste treatment. The challenges are initial investment for accelerators or gamma source can be significant, energy consumption, public perception, regulatory framework, and byproduct formation. While generally safer, some byproduct might be require monitoring. Future outlook, continued research into optimizing doses, efficiency, and the specific pollutant degradation, development of more cost-effective and energy-efficient accelerators, integration with other remediation technologies as biological treatment, membrane filtration for synergetic effects. Growing demand for advanced solutions to complex environmental problems will drive adoption. This slide, we can see several publications of our team. We worked a lot about the degradation of pollutants in water, and we did some works about the combination between gamma irradiation and nanofiltration. The results were very good, and it was a very promising technique for water treatment. In conclusion, electron beam and gamma irradiation are powerful, advanced technology offering effective and sustainable solutions for a wide range of environmental contamination challenges. By leveraging the principle of ionizing radiation, we can move towards cleaner water, air, and soil, contributing to a healthier environment. Continued investment in research, development, and implementation is crucial for their widespread adoption and impact. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Associate Professor Fatin. That was a very thoughtful presentation. And before we proceed, I think we should all please open our cameras so that we can have a group picture for the webinar. So after the group picture, I think I would have to invite Dr. Michael. So please, let's open our camera so that we can have a group picture. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So please let me invite Dr. Michael. Dr. Michael, the floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, you can. Go ahead, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Just a sec, I want to reshare my screen. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abrazak and the team. Thank you for inviting me. Today I'll be speaking on the topic of delivering reliable power, the role of nuclear in Africa's net zero future. Thank you so much for the initial introduction. So I'm Michael Dioha. I'm a senior energy researcher at Climate Task Force USA. I work with the Africa team, and most of my work revolves around understanding the nature of Africa's energy transition. Without much ado, let me just go into my presentation today. I don't know if you can see my screen from your end.
Yeah, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So my talk today is going to explore the role of nuclear energy in delivering clean, reliable, and scalable power in Africa, especially as we strive for net zero emissions while still ensuring development progress. So I'm going to frame the conversation around SDG 7, SDG 8 rather, which is focused on economic growth, as well as SDG 11, which is focused on sustainable cities, basically focusing on how energy plays a foundational role in economic growth and sustainable organization. So we know that energy is not just a commodity, it is sort of the lifeblood of human development, from powering our homes and industries to facilitating advancements in healthcare. We know that energy sort of underpins the fabric of human progress, or I will say that energy is basically the engine of economic development. So as you can see on your screen on the right-hand side, you will see that energy actually have a positive interlinkages with all other sustainable development goals. When you think about something like transportation, you think about something like ICT, education, and the likes of them, none of this can actually be achieved without having energy. But at the same time, again, we know that Africa's developmental ambition has been deeply constrained because of the lack of reliable energy supply. So as we speak today, over 600 million people in sub-Saharan Africa do not have access to electricity, especially those who live in the rural areas. But at the same time, again, we know that Africa's population is growing and industrialization is also ticking up. So that simply means that electricity demand is also going to be increasing. So without us having scalable as well as clean electricity supply, we are risking the potential of expanding the growth. That is basically we are stagnating the growth towards economic development as well as having sustainable cities. So this sort of sets the foundation for the discussion on what type of energy system does Africa need at this point. That is energy system that does not just reduce emissions, but at the same time is an energy system that is reliable enough to drive Africa's economic development. Now we know that many African countries have made commitments towards achieving net zero emission energy systems. And when you look at a country like Nigeria, Nigeria has planned to achieve net zero by the year 2060, while a country like South Africa has also planned to achieve net zero by 2050. So all these things are very, very good. But at the same time, in spite of this great start, the challenge, as I said, is not just about cutting emissions. It is about how do we go about cutting emissions while growing our economies to meet electricity demand. Now, when we're thinking about reducing emissions, greater emphasis has been around how do we bring in solar and wind into the electricity system. I would like to point out that solar and wind are very, very good. They are vital components into the system. But again, we know that a lot of countries in sub-Saharan Africa, they lack strong and reliable grids. So in these countries that have a weak grid, when we add too much of this solar and wind, because we know their supply is variable, that is, you know, when the sun is not shining, you don't have solar. So when we bring in these sort of variable energy systems into our grid mix, it destabilizes the electricity system. So this is where what we call firm dispatchable power comes into play. And it helps to fill that gap when the sun is not shining or when the wind is not blowing. Now, I know our audience are broad, so I would like to do justice by first of all asking or trying to explain what we mean by firm power and why it matters. So when we're talking about firm power, just for the layman language, let us say that it is electricity that is always available or that can be counted upon at any time, whether the sun is shining or whether the wind is blowing. Why is firm power important? It is very, very important because it helps to support things like heavy industries, you know, our water systems, our public transportation system, because these are essential services that must not be shut down. So today in Africa, when we look at the way our electricity system is being composed, this firm power that we are talking about is mainly supplied by fossil fuel electricity generators, mainly things like natural gas and maybe coal in the case of South Africa. So if we are serious as a continent to decarbonize or to reduce our emissions towards achieving net zero, we need to think about how do we find cleaner alternatives that deliver the same reliability that these existing fossil-based firm power systems are delivering. And when we think about that, that is where nuclear becomes very, very important. That's where nuclear basically comes into the picture. When you look at the picture by the right-hand side, there, that is the result of one of the...
The slide is still on the first page. The slide is not moving.
Okay.
Yes, it's moving now.
Okay. Oh, sorry. You missed substantial part. Okay. Just can you see now, please?
Yeah, sure, we can.
Okay, thank you. And sorry about that. I appreciated if you even notified me earlier on. Thank you so much. Yeah, so if you look at the picture on your right-hand side, that is one of the studies that we did recently on looking at what is the role of different electricity technologies in a net zero emission electricity system. This is a study we conducted internally here. So when you look at that, you are going to see that nuclear actually have a role in the electricity system. So the figure you see is basically showing the installed capacity. This for an analysis that we did for Nigeria, and then also showing us the electricity generation mix. One of the things we found is that when we are getting towards the year 2070, from 2050 to 2070, the electricity system is fully achieving net zero emission system. Then what we notice is that fossil fuel, that's basically natural gas and oil, is being removed from the system. And as that's being removed from the system, it is being substituted with a nuclear power. So basically nuclear power is providing that base load that we are talking about. So why nuclear? Why is nuclear producing this base load? When we think about nuclear, it checks the many boxes of our energy needs in Africa. It is carbon free, that is, it does not release direct CO2 emissions during operation, and it almost run all the time. You know, unlike solar and wind that when the sun is not shining, you don't have solar and wind. You know, when the wind is not blowing, you don't have it. But for the case of nuclear, it's always there. So it also lasts long. You know, it can stay for about 60 years, and in some cases even up to 80 years when you maintain them well. Then when we think about also the land footprint, when we compare it to solar, the land footprint is low. The land you need to dedicate to nuclear to get electricity of a similar amount, when you compare that to solar, nuclear is way, way, way lower. So nuclear is very, very ideal when you have dense urban areas as well as heavy manufacturing industry zone, and even things like large desalination where needed. So these features sort of make nuclear to be a strong candidate when we think about having a clean, firm, dispatchable electricity system. Now, nuclear is not something that is so new to us. Nuclear has been there. It's part of the global energy mix today. So it is not just a theoretical solution that we are talking about. It is central to the existing power grid. When we look at countries like France, about 70% of France's electricity system today is coming from nuclear. When we look at a country like the United Arab Emirates, they recently completed the Barak plant, which is also contributing substantially towards the grid. There are also plans ahead, like in countries like China, currently about 150 reactors are in pipeline to be there by 2035. And then we're also expecting what we call SMRs, that is the small modular reactors, post 2030. We're expecting this to come on board, and we are seeing that many countries are already exploring it, such as Canada, the United States, South Korea, and in fact we even have African countries that are looking into SMR. a country like Ghana, they are working seriously into that. So basically, it is not something that is new for us. This global example shows us that nuclear can actually be scaled and adapt to different development contexts, including Africa. But at the same time, even though we know that nuclear is currently existing, it has a lot of all these potentials. It is a promising technology. Within the African context, there are serious barriers that are still preventing nuclear. And one of those barriers is simply money. The financing of nuclear power is very, very, very expensive. It is capital intensive. So that's where we now need to start thinking about things like concessional finance, as well as our guarantees to be able to deploy nuclear in the continent. We also need to think about things around the workforce that we need for nuclear power, which simply means investing more in nuclear science as well as nuclear education. So on that note, I would like to commend Nuclear Aware Africa for what you guys are doing, trying to educate people on nuclear energy and the role it plays in sustainable development. Then one will also think about other challenges. Something like regulatory readiness is also a problem. Some countries in Africa, they lack the institutional capacity to be able to oversee, the safety of nuclear. And this is where we need to start thinking about regional coordination in order to help to build capacity across different countries in the region. And then, of course, public trust is also something that is very, very important. We need to be more transparent on how we address safety issues, the weight concerns, as well as issues around cost, because I think this is one of the challenges that you see a lot within the nuclear space, that we have so much of pushback on deployment of nuclear in the African continent. Now, if we push nuclear away out of the system, the truth is that there are trade-offs that are going to come with it. And those trade-offs are things I think we would really like to prevent. So when we push away nuclear, we face tough challenges. Depending on solar and wind alone to, decarbonize our electricity system, as I earlier pointed out, it leads to grid instability because of the intermittency of the supply of the system. So reliability is going to be a challenge. Now, when we look at the alternative to nuclear, which is mainly natural gas in most side of the equation, the natural gas might actually seem as a transition option, which of course, in reality it is, but it risks locking us into fossil fuel infrastructure assets for the long term. And then also the longer term we delay to keep on investing in nuclear power, the harder it becomes for us to meet our sustainable development goals as well as our climate timeline. So nuclear energy sort of provide what we call the third way path, which provides a clean, firm, as well as scalable power option. Now, I know the question will be, how does all this things tie into the SDGs? The thing is that about 15 of the 17 SDGs actually need energy to function effectively. So basically, energy have positive interlinkages with most of the SDGs. But for the sake of this presentation, I would just like to cherry pick SDG 8 as well as SDG 11. So when we look at something like SDG 8, which is on decent work and economic growth, we know that nuclear power creates high-skilled jobs across the entire value chain. When we are looking at from the point of plant construction to engineering and maintenance, so much of jobs are being created in those areas. And also by ensuring power is always available, that is clean power. We know that Africa has a lot of SME-based sort of manufacturing system. So it's going to help to support the productivity for businesses as well as this small scale type of industries. Then on the other hand, when we look at something like SDG 11, we know that urbanization is one of the biggest challenges in Africa today, because the population is growing and there is so much of rural-urban migration, and we have problems with our infrastructure in the urban areas. So nuclear is going to ensure that these are our new cities that are developing. They have the clean energy backbone to be able to run the transit systems, the water systems, the housing systems that we have in a more reliable way. And also we know that climate shocks are a big issue right now. So having a reliable source of electricity system is going to help to strengthen our resilience against this climate shock. And this is something that is becoming important in this day, in the era of climate change. So to close my presentation, I would like to reiterate my core messages today, which is basically that Africa's energy transition needs to be reliable, it needs to be affordable, it needs to be clean, as well as scalable. And that is where nuclear energy becomes very, very important. But at the same time, I would like to point out that nuclear energy is not like the silver bullet for Africa, but it is one of the tools in the toolbox. It's one of the vital tools in the toolbox. For Africa to achieve a net zero emission that is both just and equitable, we need to tap into the full menu of our energy resources, and that is where nuclear energy becomes important. So for this to happen, we need to have clear policy frameworks that are supporting nuclear energy deployment in the continent. Also think about how do we deploy smarter financing, because the investment requirement for nuclear power is really, really substantial. And also think about how we build stronger regional coordination. So in essence, we need to work together to make nuclear energy to be part of Africa's development story, and not just for climate, but for communities as well as economies and our future generations. On that note, I will say thank you very much to the organizers and to all the participants, and yeah, God bless.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Michael. Thank you for the practical presentation. I think there's a question for you from Mr. Edele. He says, please, what is the difference between energy-based load and firm electricity?
They're the same thing, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So our next speaker is Diksha Prakash. So please, over to you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It is my honor to join the panel of such an esteemed guest. Thank you, Nuclear Aware Africa team and HIBA for inviting me for such an interesting and meaningful discussion. So my name is Diksha Prakash Singh, and am I audible to everyone? Firstly, I need.
Yeah,
Yes,
your voice is clear.
we can hear you.
So my name is Diksha Prakash Singh, and I'm from India. I'm an energy policy advisor and researcher working with United Nations Economic Commission of Europe and BRICS Energy Agency. My area of expertise is, involved working with renewable energy, climate change, and international relation nexus. Very recently, I started, last 2 years, I started exploring nuclear energy sector. So the intersection of energy, diplomacy, and development is where I spend most of my time. When we are talking about nuclear energy, so, our mind directly focus on it's energy. We are talking about electricity, okay. But nuclear energy is not only about SDG 7, which is affordable and clean energy, but it touches almost all other sustainable goals directly and indirectly. It contributes significantly in SDG 9, which is industry and innovation, SDG 13, which is climate action, SDG 3, which is good health, means nuclear medicine, therapies, etc. SDG 2, which is zero hunger, where we use nuclear energy to, develop food productions, reduce waste. SDG 6, clean water. And as Mr. Michael mentioned, SDG 8, SDG 11. And I have just mentioned 8 or 9 SDGs, but when we deeply study it, then we will get to know how nuclear energy touches each and every sustainable development goal. So the question, why talk on nuclear energy is so underrated and almost neglected till very recent, especially by the global South countries, and Africa is one of them. Africa holds substantial uranium, right? Substantial uranium reserve, and is considered a potential major player in global nuclear energy market. Namibia, Niger, South Africa are significant producers of uranium. Actually, Namibia currently, I think, ranked at third, the producer of uranium. But when it comes to nuclear power, most of the African countries will lack it. And the question arises, why? Technology, untapped potential of uranium deposits, limited financial resources, lack of regulatory frameworks are some of the answers. It is surprising that how US, Canada, Russia, who get uranium from Africa, got multiple small modular reactors, and Africa sadly has just one, I think, nuclear reactor, which is in Keyburg, South Africa. Today, I want to bring down something much simpler. How can we work together, and how global alliances and collaboration can make nuclear energy become a tool for empowerment, especially for Africa. Over 600 million people in Africa still lack reliable electricity. But at the same time, Africa is rich in uranium, young talent, and political will. The problem isn't the potential, it's the platform. And here, BRICS nuclear energy platforms come in. Out of 10 BRICS countries, 3 are African countries: South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Kenya, and 3 more other African countries expressed their interest to be part of BRICS. Thus, BRICS can play a huge role in empowering Africa nuclear energy system. As I have mentioned about one term, BRICS nuclear energy platform, what it is. So it is a platform created, a kind of committee and working group, which is built, for the collaborations in nuclear energy sector between South-South countries, global South countries. It brings together technology, policy, funding, merchandise, and most important, mutual respect. BRICS nuclear energy platform, I want to pick, 3 major things from this platform. The first is technology transfer, not dependency. Nuclear technology often feel out of reach for many African countries. It seems as expensive, complicated, and foreign. But BRICS, there is an opportunity for South-South cooperation. Countries like India and Russia already have successful models of building a small modular reactor and low-cost nuclear infrastructure tailored for developing countries. What if instead of buying ready-made reactors from the West, Africa could co-develop its own with help of its BRICS partners? Second is human capital. Africa youth at the center. Let me say this clearly. If Africa is to have nuclear future, it must have African nuclear scientists, African safety regulators, African clean energy leaders. BRICS nuclear energy platform have student exchange programs, joint training programs, and nuclear literacy campaigns. Because this isn't just about reactors, it's about people. Let's imagine a future where young women in Kenya, students in Ghana, innovators in Nigeria are not just talking about nuclear, but they are leading it. And third, and the most important of all, financing for the long term. Nuclear energy has high upfront cost, but it also has huge long-term payoff, clean, stable, base load power for decades. BRICS new development banks, you must have heard about this terminology, has efficiency to sponsor big projects on low interest financing for clean infrastructure, including nuclear. Co-investment, co-funding to the regional hubs can play a huge role. At last, I want to say that it is not a competition between technologies. It's about building a resilient energy ecosystem. And Africa deserves access to the entire toolbox, not just the most accessible tool. 3 things what we can do at the moment and what actually I'm doing and promoting at my level. First, build public trust, especially among the youth. Whenever we are mentioning nuclear, we think it's scary. No, it's not scary. It is smart, clean, and empowering. Second, we need to change the narrative. Africa is not a passive recipient, it is a partner, it is a co-inventor. And third, push for collaborations like BRICS, safety standard, finance, technology. It all gets solved with such a big regional cooperations. Nuclear energy isn't just about electrons on a grid. No, it's about opportunity in every village, dignity in every household, and hope in every heart. As a young leader from Global South, I know that true progress happens when we bring everyone to the table, not just as a guest, but as a co-author of our shared future. So at least I have a good hopes that the nuclear energy future of Africa will bloom, and African youth especially are going to contribute in it. Thank you everyone so much for listening to me very patiently. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. It's actually nice. So the next speaker we have in line is Gunjan Indaulia. So the floor is all yours. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, or even good morning. Great honor to join this panel and be a part of this very timely dialogue on how nuclear energy aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in light of World Environment Day 2025 and theme ending plastic pollution. So plastic pollution is just not a waste problem; it's an energy and system problem. So from production where plastics are derived from fossil fuel feedstocks to disposal and degradation, every stage contributes to environmental degradation and greenhouse gas emissions. Before I start, and I'll keep it very short because, we have seen wonderful speakers and given wonderful presentation, like Professor Faten gave a compelling insight on how nuclear technologies can address environmental challenges from multiple angles. And, Dr. Michael, he, from his nuclear power background, focused on how nuclear energy generation can play a central role in combating plastic pollution and supporting, broader sustainability efforts. And Diksha, she focused on the policy point of view, collaboration point of view. So I would just, make it quick and just add a few more points to it. First of all, one of the most overlooked aspects of this issue is environmental injustice. So plastic pollution, the way climate change disproportionately affects Africa, plastic pollution disproportionately affects Global South, where waste management infrastructure is weaker, and energy poverty increases these challenges. Here, nuclear energy can be a key enabler of great solutions by providing clean, stable power for water treatment, waste management, and green industrial development, no doubt about it. However, we will come to the point that there are challenges, in adapting nuclear power as well. Ending plastic pollution must also mean ending the injustice of who bears its brunt. And nuclear helps by empowering clean infrastructure where it's most needed. So we need to look toward emerging, in earlier days, nuclear power plants has to be big nuclear power plants generating more power. Now we have advanced technologies. So we need to look towards emerging nuclear technologies which can suit to your country and that can directly support sustainable industrial transformation. Advanced reactors can supply clean process heat, replacing fossil fuels in the plastic, cement, and steel industries. Microreactors and nuclear batteries could power remote and plastic-reliant supply chain sustainably, and at the same time creating opportunities for clean industrial parks that can integrate recycling, logistics, and green manufacturing, all powered by next generation clean energy, supported by nuclear energy. So, as we talk about nuclear energy, we need to know how nuclear energy fits into this picture. First, it can decarbonize the plastic value chain. And secondly, it enables clean hydrogen production. Now we are moving towards a hydrogen economy, and nuclear enables clean hydrogen production, which can be used to create alternative plastic feedstocks and reduce fossil-based inputs. Third, advanced plastic recycling technologies like pyrolysis and chemical depolymerization need high stable temperatures, and nuclear can power these processes at a scale, contributing to a very circular economical infrastructure. And finally, in regions struggling with water excess and plastic contaminated waterways, nuclear-powered desalination and wastewater treatment can play a vital role in environmental recovery. I would not like to talk more about SDGs because all of other speakers, they have covered, how nuclear energy support SDGs through clean energy provision and different other provisions. So the important question I would like to talk about is like how Africa can realistically adopt nuclear energy given their own challenges. So Michael talked about the biggest challenge, which is a capital challenge, because nuclear has high upfront capital cost. So the advice is to, as I come from a nuclear industry and I have 10 years experience working with the clients and working on all sorts of reactors worldwide. So from that experience, I can definitely say that it's a right time to start, because now we have technologies which can be adopted at a less capital cost than it was earlier. It's a more competitive market these days. Countries with established nuclear power program are willing to offer new technologies at a reasonable rates. So I'd say that start small with modular and phased approaches. And for example, SMRs, which are called small modular reactors, and micro reactors, these are ideal for regions with limited grids and for industrial clusters. They offer scalability without massive upfront cost of large nuclear power plants. Now, we already talked about it, but I like to reiterate it, that we need to build regional cooperation frameworks, like for the whole African continent, because African countries, they can collaborate. They can collaborate through shared licensing, through regional nuclear training centers, and joint investment platforms to reduce redundancy and to lower the barriers to entry. So again, this cooperation, regional cooperation is very, very important if we have the challenges but we would like to enter into the nuclear sector. Third, Africa should leverage international partnerships for financing and capacity building. Institutions like IAEA, AFTB, and development banks, they can support Africa's specific nuclear roadmaps with safeguards, training, and initial feasibility studies. Then Africa need to develop nuclear-ready policies and institutions. I'm sure that there already are some of such institutions established in some African countries, as it is needed to strengthen the independent regulatory bodies who can update energy master plans and integrate nuclear into national climate and circular economy strategy, which is essential. Now, we have seen from my own experience in attending many conferences, I've seen, trust issues with nuclear, and which is, understandable. So it can happen that if you do not educate your community, because of the lack of trust, because of the lack of awareness about nuclear, there can be challenges in taking off that plan, which already happened in India. Like, we had to shift the plants from one planned location to another because the local community did not agree that that plant should be built there. So that's why it's very important to educate and engage communities earlier. Public trust is key. Transparent dialogue, youth outreach, and real-world demo projects, they can shift perceptions and build local ownership of nuclear solutions. So Africa stands at a unique crossroads. With the right policy, investment, and innovation, the continent can leapfrog to cleaner industrialization, combining nuclear energy with environmental protection to build future-ready economies. And ending plastic pollution means rethinking not just products, but systems. And with systems, energy is at the heart of that system. And nuclear energy, though often overlooked, is definitely ready to be part of the solution. And at the end, I would like to say that, nuclear may not replace plastic, but it can replace the dirty energy that makes plastic part of the problem. And if you want to build clean, circular futures, let's power them with clean, constant energies. So yeah, that's my take. And thank you so much for this project.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. Before we go to our last presenter for today, I think we should have a last group picture for the session. So please, can you all just open your camera so we can have a last shot for the session? Yeah, thank you all. Thank you. So our last presenter for today is Tekla Mutero, and I will be the one to share my screen so that she can present. So I'm about to share my screen.
Okay, good evening, dear leaders. Let me thank you for this great opportunity granted to me by Africa Women in Nuclear team, Women in Nuclear Africa team, and the Nuclear Aware Africa. Allow me to acknowledge my leader who are on this call, on this meeting. They are actually my inspirational, the president of Africa Women in Nuclear, Madam, sorry, how can I pronounce her name? I hope she's here. I see her name. She put Win Africa. And let me also thank my sister, my sister Heba. She said through outreach and the on the ground forces, which is bringing inclusive environment for the sector. So as I was introduced, I am Tekla Mutero. Allow me to say sorry for my video. I was having hectic meetings and I'm not on a position for camera. So I believe my voice, you can hear it clear. I see many of the team here knows me well. So I am Tekla Mutero. I am a young woman in the mineral sector as an entrepreneur and a leader. I am on this sector as an entrepreneur because that is how I believe how we can own our mineral resources. So going to the first slide that I will speak more to the second slide, my moderator, the other slide, where I will speak more to understand the concept and where we are connecting one another with nuclear energy. So, Emerging Mining Association of Namibia, why we are Emerging Mining Energy and Science Association of Namibia. Our aim is to encourage Namibians, let me say in particular in Africa, to become entrepreneur in the mineral sector, covering all the stages to an end product and service. Because we realize that due to lack of the sufficient support of our material, many projects we are relying on the foreign company or continent to source us our own material. Example, we cannot talk of energy if we don't own what produce energy. Example, I can still give it to my own country. I'm coming from Namibia. Many of us, we are aware that Namibia is #1 producer of the uranium, which is value chain and ending as nuclear energy. We have to ask ourselves as African, does that title mean it's a Namibian people are owning really this mineral? That is the concept we must have. That's why we realize that we must start from the ground, empowering Namibians also to have mining rights licenses for this material, not only uranium, but we have also other mineral that back nuclear energy to be produced in different form, either medicine, either agriculture, all that. So we realize that as African, we need to be in value chain. We own our critical mineral. We transform it into transformation using the engineering, our own African students. Although we are going to have international import of skills and people, yet we are benchmarking what we are having so that we can able to reach science and scientists, which will provide us a product that we can say, oh, African on our own, we can able to build a thing that we can see. Because for the fact we don't have that, all this project that we are doing one day will lead to shut down, because we need to still to go to a foreign company. We need this material, allow us to do research, allow us to do this, and this slow the projects, aims, and what we want to do. That's why we benchmark all this so that we can grow the sector with a route. For example, one can tell me, oh, I'm in science. Do you have a route? Where does it tell you a route to guide the generation that is coming? So this is what I am doing in Namibia and part of Africa. My sister Heba, she's on a mining platform where we have over 40 African countries, all levels, miners, scientists, governments, ministers. We are bringing them together. We are bringing expertise together so that they fit in every area, so we can be a chain. In other way, we can a food chain. We depend from one another. I am in the mining sector, I depend to expertise of an African descendant or an African who went to study in Europe, Asia, America. When he come home, he don't need to be unemployed. He don't need to be vulnerable of to do things, because we will be supporting one another. What I need from this level to this level, I can able to get it in this chain, which will have a route where we are coming from and where we are ending. So that is the thing that I could like to highlight on my introduction. And I'm so privileged that in Namibia we are an emerging or a starting developing country in this sector. And we are so grateful that youth as me, we are honored to get this privilege to sit with you professors, to sit with you expertise of different level, so that we can grow within it in the way that suit an African content. Many find it difficult to understand the standard level of stages that I have designed in the mineral development. But I thank the president of our women of Africa Women in Nuclear. When I met her, she understood the journey where we are going. Although that time I was just a minor, she carried me on platform which took me to grow to this level. Because when we started, we were emerging minors. From emerging minors, with the collaboration of working with her leadership, we learned to know STEM. We are climbing at every level to a point in Namibia now they are studying in these courses that make us one day to have our energy that we wish. So I believe most of the thing was spoken. I will just go to the last slide of nuclear awareness, which is suit the African awareness. So my take on this is that thank you so much for coming up with this platform. I can still say as Namibia is #1 producer of this uranium. However, our appearance on the continent is not there. You won't see that in Namibia we have hosted such an event or anything of awareness. It's like a drop in the sea. So with this institution organization that you are forming, this is the awareness that we really need, because mindset and beliefs and information where it's needed, it's not decentralized and it's not giving confidence to those people on the ground. So I will mention few things. Education and training. We need to encourage our curriculum integration. You see many universities not in countries where they have done a lot, but in most of the African universities, you will find these courses of nuclear energy, nuclear sustainability. All this is not in the curriculum. So as the institution, organization who are pioneering this, let's bring this curriculum of education to foster understanding on a primary and secondary level in all the continent. We also have to develop human development. This includes investing in the training program. And this one, I will still take you back on our concept. Because our concept is a food chain, we will still use other minerals of Africa that can be profitable to invest in our own activities. Because many we are thinking, I must write a proposal to EU to fund ourselves. So being in a food chain, you can still use our other mineral to invest in ourselves, to invest in our project. Because we are not part of anything. We will know the importance of all our mineral and invest in the organizations, individual expertise to do more on the project that we really need. We need to increase the public engagement and communication. I will also still thank these platforms, as I mentioned, Sister Heba. Thank you for your public engagement and communication, because this made inclusive environment where we can do more consultation meetings, and it must not only end online. Let's increase on physical, so that we can able to learn more measure. We can give a lot of real life experience from every part of African continent which you want to venture in nuclear. You need those real story, real case study. We don't need AI. We need the real case study of what is happening on the ground to close the gap. Collaboration. Yes, NGO, we are really doing very well as we are doing so. We need to bring stakeholders, we need to bring government officials. This platform needs to be a tool of a mouth to many countries that are going to be involved in this sector, so that it can give a guidance, demonstration of safety. Many are thinking, if you tell them nuclear, still they think that, oh, it's dangerous, it's what. So this awareness will help our people to understand the fact and the agenda that we are drawing to, as many was mentioned. And this platform of awareness, it will help us to demonstrate nuclear power and the security establishment. This will also harness potential technology that is needed. Remember, every project, every activity have stages. So this will help us to rearrange ourselves. What is needed on the first phase, what is needed on the second, what is needed on the third, so that our people feel safe. And making people feel safe in the sector, it harmonize and give them confidence why they have to be there. And we have also to explore nuclear applications. As I say, AI is a very good tool, but let's try to go deeper in reality what we need as a continent. Let's strengthen partnership. I'm so happy that on this call where we are, we have it's an international already on its own, as we are strengthening partnership of representation in the nuclear service. So let's not only look at as I'm so happy the summit that was hosted in Morocco. It helped. The agenda was, let's see nuclear as a business platform where we don't lose our youth, because youth is an active environment and they need future. But if we can help them to understand that this technology, it can be a business, this technology, it can be whatsoever, they will not be captured by other sector, because many youth, when they are young, they are still dependent from any source. They love to be active. But as time goes, when they don't see opportunity of growth, they drop the career and change it to another sector. So let's have a visionary and protect what we are building so that we can build Africa stronger. With that few words, I will end by saying our minerals is our heritage. I don't need to be told that this is what is our birthright. Our mineral is our power. Our mineral is our future. Our mineral have the answer of what we need on the continent. Thank you very much. I'm a Pan-African.
Yeah, thank you very much for that beautiful presentation. Thank you very much. We will now like to move to the question and answer session. So if any one of us have any question whatsoever, we can just easily raise up our hand so that we can entertain the question. It's either a question or a comment or a contribution to the whole session. So please, if you have any question, please. Anyone? There's a comment by Mr. Michael. The question goes, okay, before we go for the question, I think someone is raising up his hands. Mr. Salifu, please go ahead. Yeah, Salifu.
Please, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. This is Fuseni. I'm speaking from Dubai. As the madam said, I learned a lot from her presentation. As I'm speaking, I am a young profession by teaching, but I have tried all my possible ways to find different ways to improve my knowledge, but I could not get. By getting this social media or this platform, I think we can contribute to each other, and I'm hoping to see if there is any chance for us to enhance our knowledge. You can connect us on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fuseni.
Hello.
Kindly mute the mic, please.
Hello.
we can hear you. Thank you. Mr. Flavius, go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, moderator, for giving me the floor. I want to sincerely appreciate the organizers of this platform, the Nuclear Aware Africa, and all the presenters. I have keenly followed the presentation from the first presenter to the last presenter. By way of introduction, my name is Dr. Flavius from the University of Maiduguri, Nigeria. My take home from this webinar so far is the awareness, the growing awareness in Africa, and the need for us to invest in young people, to tap into the huge potential of young people we have in Africa through nuclear energy, but investing in the power and non-power sector of nuclear energy, as we have heard in this webinar. I would just want to make a passionate appeal. Like Her Excellency Tekla has rightly said, how do we tap into the energy of young people, particularly in the education sector? Taking it from a bottom to top approach, I mean from primary level to tertiary institution, enshrining the concept of nuclear energy and sustainable development with growing partnership. How do we really reinforce this in Africa? Like recently, I was just recently appointed as the focal person for my university in the United Nations Academy, which I got to know last year. And I got to understand the opportunities, the vast opportunities we have to collaborate together, the vast opportunities we have to network together to drive home this agenda. How do we really leverage on these and other opportunities? That is my little point on that. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. Any other contribution, question? Yeah, Doctor, go ahead. Dr. Michael, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to urge if you guys can have dedicated webinar on the issue of the nuclear waste. My experience so far within the domain of energy, most especially from the electricity supply sector when we're thinking about nuclear power. For the case of Africa, the conversation I've always been having is our capacity to be able to manage nuclear waste. And I think there is quite substantial lack of knowledge in that area within the African sector. And most of the pushback I've been getting has really been around this. I run energy system models, and whenever I'm running the net zero pathways, nuclear always come up as one of the least cost options in the mix. So it's more of like, if we really want to get here, we need nuclear. But when you come to the side of the policy as well as people on ground, there's so much of pushback. So how do we sort of balance this dichotomy? So I think we need better education in that regard. And if maybe in the future you can dedicate one of the webinars to really speak to waste, and let's get the experts on board to help Africans get on board with it, and then think about within our limited institutional capacity, how can we be able to deal with this if we want to get it on board?
Thank you very much, Doctor, for that contribution. I think that has been noted, and we'll definitely have webinars. Part of our webinar series will dedicate just emphasize on that topic so that we can achieve our set goals, aim, and objective. NUAHP, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, the organizers of this program. My name is Comrade Ajak Elechi Chima, and I think I've learned a lot listening to the presenters. I just want to say, whenever we have issues like this, and we come to stalemate most of the time when we talk about financing and money, because we are seen as a poor continent, Africa. But I know that we are very, very rich. So I want to ask, is there any way we can do collaboration as Africans and integration to make sure that we tap into this nuclear energy as a source of empowerment to our continent? Is there any way we can get our governments to come together and think of a way forward? Because we know very well that there are a lot of potentials. That will be my own question. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I think let's hear from Dr. Michael what he can say regarding that.
Thank you. In terms of partnership, I think we first of all have to think about in what areas do we want to partner. Do we want to partner in terms of education around nuclear? Do we want to partner in terms of actually building out nuclear infrastructure? I think that's where everything needs to start from. If we're able to figure that out, then we can now start thinking about how to build such kind of partnerships. So let me give, for instance, we in Clean Air Task Force, we have a nuclear program. And then we have that nuclear program that, you know, is dedicated to advocating for nuclear all around the world. We can be able to support in terms of providing sound research around the potential of nuclear in a region. And we are happy to collaborate with any institution around the world in that context. Now, when you talk about maybe in terms of financing for nuclear power, then that's an entire ballgame, and we're looking at different institutions to handle that. So when you look at, I think 2 days ago, the World Bank recently lifted their ban on nuclear power. So that is also an area now that you can be thinking of in terms of financing, how to mobilize resources from the World Bank. And there are a couple of other institutions. So depending on how the collaboration is going to be, then I think we can be able to figure out the institution. And then I'd like to point out that beyond just, should I say, global and global South cooperation, let us also think within Africa, how can we be able to partner? We have institutions that are working substantially in the area of nuclear research, as well as nuclear development, beyond the energy sector, you know, as well as other applications. So are we, as the person who asked that question, I'm happy to have one-on-one with you to think through how better we can collaborate in that regard.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you very much. I think I will ask Professor Soher if she can add to the question.
Yes, I would like to add to Mr. Michael that the International Atomic Energy Agency every now and then announces for projects between African countries, and he can follow this on the website. There is the CRP, our Coordinated Research Projects, and in this project, more than one country joins from Africa, even from Europe, and I think this is very beneficial for him or for us all, because usually to cooperate with each other, we have to have the approval of our governments. And the IAEA is one of the places where cooperation between African countries is well accepted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, Doctor. I think Fatin is there any contribution from Fatin?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Just to say that nuclear technology represents one of the most significant scientific achievements of the 20th century, with application that extend far beyond electricity generation. The diverse uses of nuclear techniques have revolutionized multiple sectors: medicine, agriculture, industrial processes, and scientific research. The future of nuclear technology appears promising yet complex. Just I want to add something that Africa is rich in minerals, but also rich in its youth. we absolutely must invest in education and especially in the field of nuclear technology, where we are a little timid compared to developed countries. And I want to thank the organization, the committee that give me the opportunity to expose my work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Lady Tekla, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I will answer according to my experience. Oh, I hope it might be common. And it will also, I will also play a contribution answer to some of the question. And this is the reality. Number one, nuclear energy, although it was already there on the African continent, but yet this is a time it is shining out or being taken on a serious note. So involving partnership, I will encourage an institution that is representing the continent in championing this agenda to bring governments officials who are law regulators to serve in this organization as an adversary, because by doing that, we are making them inclusive to know our need. Why? Most of the African country, you find this Ministry of Minerals. Some they are the one that say mines and energy. Some they name it in a different way, but it does not define science, energy to be well represented on government level. I was once in Russia and some African, some European country or foreign on some summit. You find a student, I'm in science. I'm in science of a certain field in the mineral sector. But where he's coming from, does his country have even a directorate of such field? I asked him, does in your country have this ministry or directorate? He said he don't have. Why? Because there's no political will to enforce that. And that is a fact. And this year I have mentioned it even in Ethiopia, that it's high time even African Union to champion nuclear energy like any other sector. You will find mining forum or whatever forum, it's well taken, and that make those sector to receive potential of support. So this is what we also need to do in nuclear space, that we must make our continent accountability of being the forefront of what we need. Number three, at the African continent, as we speak now, they are having the reporting code of Africa. Reporting code is representing African project, international on stock market, and opportunity that the world must be attracted to. And these are the stakeholders we have to bring a new platform that was created so that nuclear energy information must also be channeled on reporting code so that it represents our needs even much better. Lastly, I will give an example of our mining association. The only person who can be my witness here is Madam Heba and Dr. Flavor. In our mining association, we have all the representatives, even from the government. Ministers who we bring them there, we are telling them that you can be at this level, but you are an African. When you leave your office, you are a human, you are a father, you are a mother, you are a communist person. And this is what we need to build. And as we speak, really our platform has very great influence, mostly on government and partnership, because we bring them to know what we need and what they need. It's not when we are championing certain agenda, it's like we are in different world. But we have to make them understand that we are in one world. We just want to add another advanced things to make the place better. Thank you very much. And that's how I wish it.
Yeah, thank you very much. NUAHP, anything any more suggestion?
Not really for now. I will speak with Dr. Michael later, maybe.
Okay. So any other question, contribution? Anyone? So I
I
think
just want to make an advertisement. Next,
Okay, go ahead.
may I speak?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Next Friday, on the 20th of June, WIN Africa is organizing a webinar on nuclear technology for food security in Africa with the International Atomic Energy Agency. And I would like to invite you all to attend this webinar. Thank you very much.
We'll be there. We'll be there. Thank you very much, Professor. So thank you very much. Thank you all. The absence of question, comment, I think we can bring the webinar to a close. So as we bring this session to a close, I will want to sincerely thank you, all of our speakers, for their rich contribution. You've actually given us a lot to reflect on, from nuclear's potential for clean energy, for health, and its role in achieving the climate target and fostering innovation across Africa. I also want to thank our participants for joining, engaging and sharing their views. And a conversation like this reminds us of the future of energy and sustainable development in Africa. That's the collaboration, the openness, and the shared vision. So on behalf of Nuclear Aware Africa, I will thank you all for attending this webinar. Please stay connected with Nuclear Aware Africa. We will share the resources and follow-up material from today's session, and we hope to see you in our future events. On that note, I wish you all a wonderful day ahead. Let's continue working together for a sustainable and inclusive energy future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for such an amazing session, everyone.
Thank you very much. Let's connect. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
From Namibia, I see Madam Janet Nawases. Thank you very much for joining us. I value you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you for our presentation.
Thank you.